Hello, and welcome. Let's talk about failing to meet expectations. But enough about Darling in the Franxx, let's talk about being in out of your league. When you're put in a position that you're objectively not qualified for, what do? Do you cave in and fold under pressure and simply coast along as just good enough, or do you make the most out of this situation? This is a question posed by episode 6, Growth, of Oshinoko Season 2, which is centered around Melt's performance during the Tokyo Blade arc. And I'm once again making a single episode review because this one really inspired me. I think it's one of the best episodes of anime of the year, and is exactly why you should join me as I continue my journey to discover the perfect anime. Melt. I'm sure many of you going into the second season of Oshinoko didn't even remember this guy, and I know this because I'm one of these people. He was set up as a complete throwaway nobody in early season 1, meant to make Aqua and Kana look way better in their acting capabilities. Aqua hadn't even acted in years by the time they're in the same TV show, and still gave him the boost he needed to actually deliver a convincing performance for once in his life. But Melt is still his own character. He comes back into play in season 2 with a clear goal: to better himself in the realm of acting. He isn't satisfied with the lackluster performance he gave in season 1 on Sweet Today, and nobody else was. It was a complete flop that just managed to have one golden moment at the end in which Melt had little to contribute, but he did contribute nonetheless. He was cast on that show in a leading role after all, and at the very least, I think he absolutely deserved to have his second opportunity to prove himself. So when the production of Tokyo Blade comes to its premiere, so much of the cast have been struggling with their own preparations as well as the overall production too. But they are now prepared, and everyone around them knows what they're capable of, except Melt. Now Melt doesn't have high expectations thrust on him. He's gone for being cast amongst a bunch of other personality-less faces and pretty boys, including himself, to playing in a new ballgame, where all of his contemporaries are professionals. They have high expectations to uphold, but that's because they have proven they can do so. Much of the cast and the production don't even know why Melt is even here. He doesn't have the strongest resume, and hasn't been showing off in the rehearsals. To put it as bluntly as possible, he sucks. He's a lame actor, one who doesn't inspire the audience or those around him, and was hired originally for being nothing more than a selling point due to his looks. The producer even asks the casting director as to why he hired him for this role. If he does have potential, then they shouldn't be using something as ambitious as a Tokyo Blade stage play to test the waters. But the casting director does see the potential in him. No one else hired for this play has shown the dedication that Melt has had to his work ethic. He wants to make this play work more than nearly anyone else involved. Previously, Melt has had just about everything handed to him up to this point in life. He lost his virginity at a young age and hasn't had any problem scoring since. He could get away with being a bully in school without facing repercussions, and was scouted for his first acting role. But ever since then, he's come to realize that his good looks can only take him so far. If he actually wants to make a name for himself, he needs to take his job opportunities more seriously. A nameless pretty face like him can always be replaced. And most of the other cast and crew don't even value him being involved in this play. But this is where Melt's determination to improve himself comes into full force. He spends every waking moment not involved in rehearsals, practicing, preparing, learning. He goes for runs to increase his stamina. He practices the swordplay to the point the handle becomes frayed and his hand scarred. Though this isn't enough, come the day of the performance, he still doesn't inspire confidence nor excite the crowd when he's on the stage. He still sucks compared to everyone else around him. But so what if you suck? The painful reality is that there's always going to be someone else out there better than you. Someone with better acting chops, someone more prepared for the role, who can meet and exceed those expectations. But that someone is not here today. Melt has been chosen specifically to play Kizumi and is given this one moment to prove himself. And it can be easy to compare yourself to the talent of others, but Melt uses that as a strength. By identifying how Akane studies her acting and using that same method to think about how Kizumi would feel in this situation. Aqua, who helped him back in season 1, also comes to aid once again, offering a counterpoint that Melt hadn't thought about. So what if he isn't good enough? If he tries to be like everyone else, he's going to fail. And that could be the end of his acting career as he knows it. So instead, forge your own path. Kizumi isn't the main character of Tokyo Blade, and Melt isn't the main character of Oshinoko. But given this one chance to show off what he's capable of, if he puts all of his effort into this moment, that is when he can truly shine. And when Melt realizes this and puts forth the greatest effort of his life, we're treated to an absolute Sakuga fest. This right here is when you realize you are the main character. He's not the main character of this play, he's the main character of his own story. Using what he learned from watching Akane study others, he came to the conclusion that he is the only one who can become Kizumi. After all, Kizumi is a reflection of how Melt sees himself. He's no longer an actor, he has become the character he's meant to portray. Even though this is staged, literally, this one fight has gotten me more hyped up than any other fight this season. It's no surprise that this episode is titled Growth, as it's clear to see what the casting director saw in Melt. How he saw his potential. This is where Melt shines. Why bother if you know you aren't the same quality actor as the rest of the cast? Just show off what you're capable of. It can be easy giving up and having your past failure define you. But in this one moment, Melt decided that this moment of glory would define him instead. Some may criticize this episode as style over substance, since the Sakuga Fest wasn't even in the manga. And I would say, so what if it is? That's exactly what Dogakobo was going for here. Because that's what Melt is trying to do. If he tried to be more like the rest of the cast, he wouldn't be himself. He wouldn't be the main character of his own story. It's exactly what the great philosopher of our times, Marshall Mathers, once said. You only get one shot, do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. As this episode perfectly represents how applying your own style can bring about so much substance to your performance, and worth in the eyes of others. This is how he defines his acting style. This is how he defines himself. And with it, the audience reacts appropriately too. The same lackluster actor they were criticizing a moment ago brings about rapturous applause, adoration from the author of the manga, and most importantly, the respect of the author of Sweet Today, who has made it quite clear how she feels about him, blaming Melt for ruining her work. But this face more than makes up for everything that's happened. This is the outcome Melt wanted, and this is the result of his growth.